Assalamu alaikum girls. So today's video will be about dark reactions, which is the continuation of the topic mechanism of photosynthesis. The first reactions we learned was light reaction. So it means the first step is light reaction. The first step of photosynthesis is light reaction, and the second step of photosynthesis will be dark reactions. So in the light reactions, we studied that the production of NADPH and ATPH was seen. But in dark reactions, which is also known as the Calvin cycle, see, this cycle is the diagrammatical representation of the Calvin cycle, and this is known as dark reactions of photosynthesis also. So the details of dark reactions were discovered by Melvin Kelvin. You must know who was the one who discovered dark reactions. His name was Melvin Kelvin, and he was awarded Nobel Prize in 1961 for his work in the details of photosynthesis. And he discovered this in the University of California. The summary of these events of dark reaction is also known as Kelvin cycle, and there are 3 steps in your text book. There are 3 steps. So what happens, like, all these processes you must know are very detailed, and they are very lengthy processes, but they make it short for your understanding. So the first step is carbon dioxide molecules are combined with 5 carbon compounds. Now if you see here, this is the 5 carbon compound, and the carbon dioxide molecules are going to get combined with the 5 carbon compound to form a 6 carbon temporary compound. And then this compound, now what happens, it splits into 3 carbon, one one compound of first compound of 3 carbon and the second compound of 3 carbon. So if you see here, the 5 carbon compound, it means that there are 5 carbons in this compound. And when CO2 combines with this, now how many C's are here? 1 C. Okay, so this 1 carbon with 5 carbon, how much it makes? 6. So now the compound is of 6 carbon. Now it will split into 2 carbon, like 2 compounds having 3 carbons. First compound, second compound, both of them have 3 carbons. Understand? Second point, now the first point is complete. The second point in your textbook is the 3 carbon compounds are reduced to 3 carbon carbohydrates. How? Now please remember, if you are going to draw wrong arrows, your marks will be cut. Now look at the arrows. See, the ATP is going inside the reaction and inside the cycle, and the NADPH is also going inside the reaction, inside the cycle. So what happens is that now ATP and NADPH are also becoming a part of the cycle. Remember, these both compounds, ATP and NADPH, they were formed in the light reactions. Now these both compounds, why do we use them? They were produced in the light reactions, and what is the purpose? They provide energy. These are the currency of energy. And how do they provide? See here, this is the resultant product, which is the glucose, and this is the food of the plant. So what is the purpose of photosynthesis? When in the presence of light, in the presence of water, what happens? Glucose is produced and oxygen is produced as a byproduct. Understand? So the same thing has happened. First of all, in light reactions, we uh, the leaves synthesized ATP and NADPH. Now these eight ATP and NADPH, these both are now used in dark reactions, which are also known as Calvin cycle. And with the help of these dark reactions, what happens? We are going to see the production of glucose. So it means now this was our sole important purpose, which was the production of glucose. And how did it get produced? By using the hydrogen from ATP and NADPH. If we use the hydrogen from using hydrogen from ATP and NADPH. So what is the use of the production? So we are using the hydrogen from ATP and NADPH, and what we get as a result is glucose. Now this is the second step. Now the third step is the three carbohydrates are also used to regenerate the original five. See where did the cycle start? The cycle started from here, three carbon compounds. Now again these three carbon compounds will be used to regenerate the original five carbon compounds, and these are the original five carbon compounds. Understand? See, there is a series of reaction. Now if you see here, first of all there were three carbon, now you will say there are five carbon. How? Because after a series of reaction these three carbon compounds will change into five carbon compounds. Understand? And this step also utilizes what? ATP, because we are going to synthesize three carbon from we are going to synthesize 5 carbon from these 3 carbons. Understand? How will this happen? With the help of ATP. Understand? Now according to the reduced syllabus, uh, the topics which were in between are not a part of your syllabus this year. So the next topic we will be studying is related to respiration, page number 130. When we burn a fuel, it utilizes oxygen and it yields energy, okay, in the form of light, heat, etc. In this burning process, what happens? The oxygen is used to break the CH bonds present in the fuel. See, now they are teaching you about like respirations. In the same time, we utilize, see, always remember, during burning, understand, during the process of burning, they say that utilize oxygen is utilized to break the CH bonds in the fuel molecule. For example, if we are talking about coal, so what happens in the coal? The CH bonds are broken with the help of oxygen. That is why we say that respiration always needs oxygen and burning also needs oxygen. In the same way, when we utilize oxygen, and what happens as a result of oxygen? The CH bonds break and we get energy which is present in the food in their cells. So that is why we say that the food acts as fuel in our body, because the process is same. In case of fuel, oxygen is utilized. In case of food, again oxygen is utilized. In case of fuel, CH bonds are broken. Again in case of fuel, yes, CH bonds are broken, and in case of food also CH bonds are broken. This breakdown yields the energy which is transformed into the ATP. So this energy is transformed into ATP, and if we are going to use the energy, it will be used. If we are not going to use it, it will be stored in the body to use like in further days. During this process, the CH bonds are broken by oxidation reduction reaction, and so carbon dioxide and water are also produced. So this is the process of respiration. This cellular energy yielding process is called cellular respiration. Understand? There are two types of respiration. One is aerobic and the other is anaerobic respiration. The aerobic respiration involves the oxygen. Understand? Because aerobic respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen, and the anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. So respiration has how many types? Two types. Respiration has two types. First is aerobic and the other one is anaerobic respiration. um Actually what happens is that in humans there is aerobic respiration. Most of the animals also have, like all of the animals, they also have aerobic respiration, and anaerobic respiration is always present in bacteria without oxygen, in the absence of oxygen. Understand? So the most common fuel used by the cell to get energy by cellular respiration is glucose. So we always use glucose, and glucose is what? Glucose is a sugar. So it will be having carbon in it and it will be having hydrogen in it also. So these carbon hydrogen bonds will be broken, and as a result the glucose is oxidized. It means the bonds are broken, and what happens, the oxygen will get available. The cellular respiration occurring in the presence of oxygen is called aerobic respiration, while the one which occurs in the absence of oxygen is called anaerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration is in the presence of oxygen. Complete oxidation of glucose occurs with the with the maximum release of energy. So the energy which is going to get released will be in maximum amount, and the oxidation will be complete. This is known as aerobic respiration. What happens is that usually we use glucose, okay? So this glucose, which has how many carbons in it? 6 carbons, is broken down into two molecules of pyruvic acid. And again, remember in the dark reactions we said there is one molecule of 6 carbon and then it will become two molecules of 3 carbon 3 carbon molecules. So actually what happens is that, see, we have how much? 6 carbons, understand? And then what happens is that they will be divided into 3 carbon compounds. This is 3 carbon, and again this one is also 3 carbon. We call this one is known as glucose. So this one, 6 carbon, is glucose. This is a pyruvic acid and this also is a pyruvic acid. So if we say that one glucose molecule will be yielding means producing one carbon, one glucose, this is one glucose molecule, understand? But how many carbons does it have? 6. So if we say that one glucose molecule helps in the production of two pyruvic acid molecules, will this be true? Yes, this will be true. Why? Because they get divided, 3 carbon and 3 carbon, both of them they get separated and they make two different molecules, and these molecules they also have a name, and that name is pyruvic acid. So two pyruvic acid molecules are produced in the oxidation of glucose, and that is known as aerobic respiration. Understand? Now the first phase is explained. What happens in the second phase is, in the second phase the pyruvic acid gets completely oxidized, and all the now see, but what did we say? We had how many? We said that we had two molecules of 3 carbon. This one was one pyruvic acid, and we also had second pyruvic acid. So what means, what does it means? We have two molecules, 3 carbons and 3 carbons. Are they broken? Are all the bonds broken? No. Are all the carbons separate? No. Now we want to break all the bonds and we want 6 separate carbons. This happens in the second phase, and what is released? Carbon dioxide is released, and water, and all the energy is released. And what is the reaction? See, the reaction here, um, this is the balanced equation. So carbon, if you count here, the first of all, what is happening in the reaction? Okay, glucose, when in the presence of oxygen, the glucose is actually changed into carbon dioxide, and actually it is, what is happening? Burning. Actually the glucose gets broken down, understand? And it becomes 6 carbon dioxide molecules, 6 water molecules, and energy. Okay, so if you are going to count um, the number of these atoms, that will be same, 6 carbon, and here also 6 carbon. Oxygen, how much? Hydrogen, okay, 12 hydrogen. Here 6 twos are 12, again 12 hydrogen. Okay, so here oxygen, how many? 6, and then 6 twos are 12. So if you count the oxygen here also, this is 6 twos are 12, and again 6 hydrogen. 18 hydrogen, again balanced equation. Here 18 oxygen, and here also 18. If you are going to count the all the atoms, they will be same in number. Why? Because the equation is balanced, and we get energy also. Now, anaerobic respiration, in the absence of oxygen, glucose is incompletely oxidized. Understand? Why incompletely? Because less amount of energy is released, and in anaerobic respiration the first phase is exactly similar. What was the first phase? Remember, the first phase was the production of we have the substrate which is known as 6 carbon. Understand? This is glucose. Understand? First phase was the production of 2 pyruvic acid molecules. This is pyruvic acid, and this is also pyruvic acid. So this is pyruvic acid, this is also pyruvic acid, and this is glucose. Understand? This is the first phase. Did we study this in aerobic respiration? Yes. It means the first step is same, exactly similar. The difference lies actually in the second phase. From here the difference, this reaction here, this reaction will not be present in the anaerobic respiration. Understand? How a molecule of glucose is broken down into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. This is already the same step. But in the second phase, pyruvic acid is not completely oxidized. Why? Because the oxygen is not present. Understand? Why? Because the oxygen is not present. Because in anaerobic respiration oxygen is not present, so this reaction cannot take place. What will happen as a result? There will be a different reaction, and that different reaction is what? It is transformed into ethyl alcohol or lactic acid. Here, see, this is the ethyl alcohol or the lactic acid. In this way, many of the CH bonds are left unbroken in the products. So this is the alcohol, and what happens? The carbon is not broken completely. Many carbon bonds are left unbroken. And anaerobic respiration is classified as alcoholic fermentation and lactic acid fermentation. So there are again two types of anaerobic respiration. See, first step is same. Remember, one glucose molecule will change into 2 pyruvic acid molecules, and this pyruvic acid will change into will be converted into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. Why alcohol? Because oxygen, this oxygen is not present here. Understand? Oxygen is not present here. That is why ethyl alcohol is produced and the carbon bonds are not broken completely. Okay. Lactic acid fermentation is the fermentation in which, see, again the substrate is the same, the start of the reaction is the same, which is the pyruvic acid. This pyruvic acid, actually this lactic acid fermentation occurs in our body when we are having strenuous exercise. Okay, strenuous means uh, when we are going to use energy, and we need more energy and we don't have oxygen. Whenever you are like jogging, and whenever you are doing strenuous exercises, what happens is that our lungs are not able to provide high quantities of oxygen. Understand? So again the same, first step is same. We get the glucose which is stored in our body, same first step is here. This glucose which is stored in our body will be changed into 3 pyruvic acid molecules, and as a result the pyruvic acid gets converted into lactic acid. Why? Because of the absence of oxygen. Understand? Because oxygen is not there, so this reaction will not take place. This happens, yes. This, see, this reaction is normally present, is normally happening in the body, but when you are having extreme physical activity, see, when you are having extreme physical activity, understand, normally when you are walking, when you are sleeping, this reaction is taking place in your body. But when you are having extreme physical activities, what happens? When you are running on the stairs for half an hour, what will happen? Your lungs will get very like tired, and uh, they cannot provide proper oxygen quantities. So what will happen? The this glucose will break down into lactic acid. Sorry, yes, and the pyruvic acid um, is not the resultant product. The resultant product will be the lactic acid. So this glucose changes into lactic acid. The first step is same. One glucose molecule gets um, one glucose molecule is going to get converted into two pyruvic acid molecules, and then these pyruvic acid molecules, they do what? They produce lactic acid. This also happens in the bacteria present in the milk. In this type of anaerobic respiration, each pyruvic acid molecule is converted into lactic acid. And always remember, this is the formula of lactic acid, CC2H6O3. And one more thing, whenever you are having strenuous exercise, like after, like in a while, in once in 6 months, once in 3 months, what happens? Your muscles the next day, they are hurting. Their legs are hurting. Why? Because usual reactions is, when the glucose is used in the presence of oxygen, the carbon dioxide gets away with the help of lungs. So it is released in the air, energy, you get energy, and the oxygen and the water is also released in the form of vapors from the mouth. Your respiratory system is there to help you. But when you are having strenuous exercises, what happens is that you you don't have much oxygen with you, so this reaction cannot take place. And lactic acid fermentation is seen in the body. And see, it occurs in the they say it occurs in the skeletal muscles. As a result, this pyruvic acid is changed into lactic acid, and this lactic acid is accumulated means it gets stored in your muscles for like 2 3 days. After that, it's gone. But after, like, it dissolves and it is released out of the body, and it is now, after some days, it will not be a part of your body. Everything will become normal. But in the first 1 to 2 to 3 days, what happens is that you will have severe pain in your joints and muscles. Like, not joints, the muscles. Why? Because of the accumulation, because of the storage of the lactic acid. Understand? I hope everything is clear, and if it's not, please ask me. And I keep on advising you girls, please ask me whenever you have any issue, but no one is asking. So please ask me if you have any issue regarding understanding anything, because this chapter is actually, it would be really hard for you to understand.